Hello everyone! Today we are going to have a little review on Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil, and I will explain to y'all why this did not hit a high rating for me. Firstly, peep my Jujutsu Kaisen shirt. Oh yeah, it looks so sick. I've had it for like 3 years now. Never getting rid of it. I love it. I love the design, love the look of it. I still like Gojo to this day. Also, that over there is my little Kafka bag. If you play Honkai Star Rail, I do too. Who's your main? Anyways, I've been playing that game for a while since I've been currently grinding League of Legends for time. Let's get right into Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. So this story promised me toxic lesbian vampires. Basically a story about vampires that are lesbian and that we would be following 3 different girls throughout 3 different timelines. So we are following 3 girls, namely Maria, Charlotte, and Alice. I kind of went into this blind. I listened to this on audiobook because I knew that my friends were kind of crazy about this book. They were talking very highly about it. Let's see what this book is about, since I've heard so many people say good things about it. I had, obviously, of course, pretty high hopes. It was a great story, but there were some faults with it. Firstly, let's start with the vibes. I kind of like the vibes, especially when we follow Maria. I feel like her character was the most fleshed out of all 3. Charlotte was maybe more fleshed out in the emotional aspect of things, like relationship and such, whereas Maria was not. And Alice was kind of just there, and I feel like she was good in her own way, but we kind of lacked a few things from her point of view. She jumped into the story later on, and like we didn't really know a lot about her like we did with Maria and Charlotte, because I feel like the story focused on those 2 mainly. But yes, I love vampire stories, so I was quite sold when I heard the premise. I have not read The Life of Addie LaRue. I do have it at home though, but I haven't gotten into it. My friend gave me it 3 years ago on my birthday. Let's start with the bad. The bad things in this book, I feel like, were that this story tried to do way too much at once. I feel like we got quite some perspectives on certain topics such as abusive relationships, and we got perspectives on how it was to be a woman, and then we also have perspectives of finding your inner self and other aspects. But I feel like Schwab tried to do so much that she kind of couldn't really fizzle and focus on one thing at a time. I feel like she tried to do all of this, but then it ended up being just a little bit of a mess. But I feel like the good thing that she did with her writing is she portrayed abusive relationships. So me reading about abuse in this book, it wasn't triggering for me, but it definitely clicked into a lot of memories. Not me, I have not been in one necessarily, but somebody close to me has. And seeing how well V.E. Schwab portrayed the feeling of that you cannot escape your past, and you cannot escape this person, because this person always finds a way into your life, or tries to, and usually succeeds. I think that was pretty well done. Every man is bad. Here's the thing, I love me a good feminist story. I'm a woman myself. I love reading about women. I love reading about women kissers. I love everything about it. I love it. However, I have an issue when we portray nearly every bad man in a certain light, and then when we portray a good man in a worse light. So there has been a few characters in the story that I very much enjoyed, but there was one queer couple of 2 gay men that were together in the story, and one of them and then we never saw the other one that was alive again. We just got a few aspects of him in his human life and him in his vampiric life. Another thing that was pretty icky to me was how we always saw the women portrayed as the prey and the fragile beings, whereas the men were usually the powerful and violent ones. Why are we kind of infantilizing them? I'm sorry, I don't get it. You're trying to do a feminist story, but then you're always portraying women as like this fragile small being. YouTuber right here has very similar thoughts to mine in some aspects, so I definitely recommend you to check her out. I had an issue with the kind of infantilizing and fragilizing few women and just making them seem as prey, and no women with like a own personality or history behind. I also had an issue with having characters that were there for just a second and then they just disappear. And then I also obviously didn't like the 3rd character as much, Alice. I did prefer reading into Maria. I kind of preferred the story with the first 2 women, but I understand the part Alice was playing. What I did like about the story was that it was pretty atmospheric, kept me on my toes, it was enjoyable, even though the ending was pretty meh in my opinion. Like, it was not really rewarding and there for a purpose, but then the purpose was not really there. Like, I don't know, there was a few parts that were just for me like, okay, why are we here? I did like the atmosphere. I did like listening to Maria specifically, and I did enjoy Lottie's story as well. Alice not so much. It was a fun read, and I feel like it's beautifully written and it was beautifully said in the audiobook. So I gave it a 3.25 stars out of 5 because of the fact that I actually enjoyed it, but I did not love it. Now we're going to transfer into the spoilery section. I will try to be as brief as possible so this video is not too long. Maria turns to become Sabine. Sabine is Maria's maker. I didn't see any violent tendencies from Maria to begin with, and that she kind of become this ferocious killing machine. However, I did like kind of seeing Maria's life as a human and how she kind of didn't like the man she was with because she was obviously swinging the other way. But then we also had so many depictions of like, oh, I don't want this kid, I want this child, I don't want to be barren with a child, and like this kind of abuse, which was okay. I mean, yes, fine, but there was a little bit on page stuff that were just not really sitting right with me whenever we went through Maria's human life before she became Sabine. Of course, something needed to happen for her to wanting a different life. That kind of was like the first, okay, I get it. There's bad men out there. Sure, I understand. Like, there is abusive bad men that crave power and just see women as object and baby machines. And then she became a vampire, and we also saw quite a lot of her life as a vampire and how she kind of unalived. Sabine was like, oh, okay, I guess. But the story had moved forward, and then therefore she called herself Sabine because she wanted a new beginning. She meets this guy named Matteo and his lover that is a human, which was nice to see. But then the human ends up dying because Matteo did not want to turn the human, even though Sabine was like, why aren't you turning him? You could be for eternity together. And he's like, no, I don't want to because I want him to be a human. And even the human man was like, yeah, I'd like you to turn me, but he doesn't. So he dies, and then we don't really see much more of Matteo, which is like, okay, was that it? Well, what was the purpose there? I kind of started liking these characters, like the painter, the human painter, and then Matteo, and these two being together. I very much started liking these, and then they just appear. Okay, Sabine goes her way. She meets even more people along the way, which was interesting. I like these people, but we kind of saw them for fleeting moments. I couldn't really bond with them as much as I would like to bond with these characters. Which Lottie or Charlotte, and we see her life in the 1800s, and then her meeting Sabine. Her and Sabine gets into a relationship. Okay, all cool and dandy. It's great, but we barely see the great years of their lives. We just kind of fast forward to the abuse, which is like, oh, okay, something went wrong here, and she's very manipulative and abusive to Charlotte, which is clear. But I did very much like the depiction of that, how they kind of depicted the abusiveness towards Charlotte and mental like manipulation going on, and how Charlotte cared every second that Sabine would get upset with her if she did a certain thing. Start off with this be yourself kind of perspective, which is Sabine. She wants to be herself, she wants to love who she wants to love, she becomes a different person, literally. And then we go to Charlotte, which is a girl that's her heart on her shoulder, like she always shows her emotions. He uses that against her, and a lot of abuse happens. Just horrifying, but was actually a masterpiece to read. So this is why I'm saying, like, I like this book because of the good description of abuse, like, and how it actually happens when it doesn't look like that for other people. Forward to Charlotte running away from Sabine, but Sabine always catches up to her. We have good and evil. Sabine is the evil, Charlotte's the good, but there is also like a twist because Charlotte is not really always good. She's also sometimes very selfish in her ways. That gets together with this girl. She thinks she's free of Sabine, and Sabine will not harm her or her partner. 6 years goes by. She selfishly does not turn her lover. So Sabine comes, she turns her, and she kills her with a stake. A silver stake. There's a lot of things going on there, but I'm not gonna say it. You read the book. You know what I'm talking about. It's like, okay, alright, okay. So he kills your lover, and now Charlotte is like, I will never get together with anybody again. Okay, cool, I guess. We'll see maybe something else happening then. She doesn't want to get together with anybody because she doesn't want to put anybody at harm's risk. But she ends up actually sleeping around with people. Tries to leave no traces so Sabine doesn't hurt them, and she even comes back to check on these people, on these girls that she sleeps with once, to see if they're alive and well. Which already to me is like, she already puts them into a position of danger by doing that. But she still does that because she wants love, she wants somebody to sleep with, and she wants to feel warmth from another human's body. Like, she is selfishly sleeping with other people. What the why would you do that? You know, they can die. Sabine can kill them. Like, get rid of Sabine first. Don't go and chase your selfish desires that will put them into danger. That kind of made me really upset. Okay, that made me very much upset. I was like, oh my god, what are you doing? But yeah, and then we move forward to Alice. Alice is one of the girls that Charlotte sleeps with. And now, maybe I'm wrong here, but I thought that Alice was younger than these two. Alice was younger than Charlotte and Sabine. And then we have like a moment of like, Sabine turned you into a vampire. That Sabine turned Alice into a vampire. It just didn't make that a lot of sense to me. It did turn out to be like, okay, so there was like some sort of connection between all of these girls. And then the ending, like what happened there? Alice killed both to like end the cycle of abuse instead of killing Sabine only. And for me, that was like, question mark? What is going on there? Like, why does this girl decide to two when these two, only one of them was the bad? Needless to say, I'm confused, but I did enjoy the book. It was enjoyable but very confusing due to the fact that it was a confusing ending that wasn't like what? Oh my god, for me, like some people that I know really liked this ending and really liked Alice and so on and what happened. For me, that was kind of like a, I didn't even know what I expected like from this book. That was my review of Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. My first on this channel, actually. Let me know what you think. I would love to discuss it with somebody, because then maybe somebody could fill in the gaps for me. If you liked this review, even though it was a little bit messy, a little bit rambly, do give me a follow up here. And if you want to see my latest video, it is this one right there. Go check it out. And thank you so much for watching.